Hello, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. As I recently posted, our city council member Dan Corrales, 45 years old, died here a couple days ago. This is a picture of him right here, and there's a lot of discussion in town whether this was another murder made to look like an accident or natural causes or something. I'm on his Facebook page, and I'm going to show you what he posted on January 28th. I think this was the day before he happens to die. A letter to the editor. I'm being asked to resign from office. Midland City Councilman at large Dan Corrales. Tuesday's council meeting was a flashpoint for our community. I was asked to resign. He says, to say we do not have support for the hotel is an understatement. And basically what they're wanting to do is there's a group of people that want to give $45 million of taxpayers' money to a motel to be built downtown, is what it is. And Dan Corrales was against that. Well, now here's where it gets interesting. I got this message today on my Facebook. I titled it, "For the record, I would never commit suicide." Derek Smith says Dan Corrales, was on KWEL just last week after the vote on the hotel that he wanted to make it publicly known that he was not at all suicidal in any way. Now, why would he say that on air? And then you have the longtime city councilman, Scott Dufford, who has been on the city council since 2001 and has moved districts so he can skirt the term limits by living in various districts, telling Dan he was an annoyance and everyone else on the council was willing to play ball. He goes on to say, outside of KWL listeners and posters on Nextdoor app, everyone thinks he is a fraud. The real fraud is Scott Dufford, and it stinks to high heaven why a guy would want to remain on the council as long as he has for the measly pittance they get paid, unless he is getting rich at our expense, as he is. The Bush Tennis Center getting $1 million in MDC money for expansion, and which part of the expansion will be so he can open up another location of Murray's restaurant out there, which will be called Littabites. And it's my understanding then they voted on giving money to Bush Tennis Center. He did not recuse himself from that vote, despite the fact he was going to directly benefit from it. That was Derek Smith's words today on my Facebook. And I wrote, and I said, a person only publicly announces they won't commit suicide if they're worried that somebody is going to kill them and call it a suicide. I did that after I was shot by somebody under my home with my phone lines cut, and then found proof that the Midland police had tampered with evidence and lied on the police reports to cover up this violent crime. Interestingly, I had withdrew money from my 401k and called a private investigator the week before I had kidney failure. The week after I returned from the hospital, I had a heart attack. All of this time, I had people break into my home, which I have reported to the police, the Texas Rangers, the FBI, and many elected leaders. And Dufford was on the city council when they tried to murder me, and when it's believed they killed Mike Lblong, the guy that owned this home before me. I believe they killed him and took him to his mom's house in Fort Worth the week before the 2000 oil show parties were going to start in the now not-so-secret underground home in my backyard. Aaron Packelhofer told me there were 4 murder deaths here before they planned my murder. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they killed Dan Corrales while claiming it was natural causes or an accident. That's what seems to be going on here, and it's extremely scary. Here's what Derek he put this print screen from Nextdoor from Scott Dufford. That's our city council member. He says, Dan, it's because you have become a waste of my time to mess with. I prefer to work with council members who have a clue. You're nothing more than an annoyance that we all have to deal with at City Hall for the next year. Your lies and truth stretching does nothing but divide Midland. Outside the KWEL listeners and the posters on Nextdoor, everyone else I know considers you a fraud, and this will be your one and only run on this city council. All are tolerating you for now, and I know you, and I know you know that as for being scared of you, why would I be? Give me a reason why. I'm up for a good laugh. That's, I guess, what Scott Dufford posted about Dan Corrales. That's what's going on in Midland, Texas. And me, I was home minding my own business, reporting crimes to the police when they tried to kill me and cover it up. And there's absolute proof the police were involved in covering it up. Midland, Texas.